In my previous GameCube videos, I've installed an Noctua fan, USB power supply, wireless Bluetooth controllers, and on a separate GameCube I installed the Pico loader, a solderless ODE. But now it's time to install the Flippy Drive. Is this the ultimate in ODEs? I think we should install it and find out. So hi everyone, my name is Charlie and welcome back to my little channel. Today I'm going to be installing Flippy Drive into my personal GameCube. I've had this on order for months, so I'm really pleased it's finally arrived. This tiny little circuit board lets you play your backed up games directly from an SD card. It uses a custom interface called Cubeboot, and I think it fits really nicely with the GameCube's original UI or user interface. One of the things it can do is rip your games straight from the original discs, so you can back up your own game library. It does this out of the box without any plugins, so I'm going to take a little look at that feature later on, along with some of the other features and settings available. So I think we should just go grab a Game Bit screwdriver, pour a brew, and let's get Flippy Drive installed. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is just flip this over like a turtle on its back. Grab our Game Bit screwdriver and we can just whip out those 4 screws that are on each of the corners. The GameCube is actually a pretty easy console to get into. It's really nicely engineered on the inside. Now it's time just to lift the lid on the GameCube and we can get access to the internals. So we're going to need to remove some of these ancillary kind of products. So I'm going to take out the power supply and the fan here. This will come out all as one unit, just releasing 2 screws. And I'm also going to release the controller ports at the front. So yours might look a little different to mine because I fitted the iBlue controller mod. So I'm just going to disconnect the power from mine just to make it a bit easier to remove. There we go, just unplug the plug here. You probably don't need to do that part, but I prefer to. And I'm just going to disconnect my Noctua fan as well, just to make it a bit easier to take everything out. So we could just release the screws and it will just come out as one thing. So now I'm just going to sort of go around, take out the other screws. So these are the grounding plates that I'm taking out now, just above the memory card slots. Just whip those away. And I'm going to take the rest of these screws out now. So with the power of YouTube, let's get them removed. And it's done. Now we can just whip off the drive. If you no longer have your DVD drive, you can use this little 3D printed noggin to pinch the cable in place. And essentially it will just slot in here and pinch this cable in place. So firstly you want to have it upwards so you can see this triangular arrow. And we're just going to fold in between the pins down. Just fold it gently, don't push too hard. And then you should end up with a bit of a pyramid kind of shape. Now we want to fold along these creases here. We're going to do that on both sides. So just where the little notches stick out, we're going to fold it over there. You don't want to crease it too hard. You don't want to break the metal contacts underneath. So just take your time, be gentle, and you should be fine. Now we're just going to put one last crease in along here, just slightly further up the ribbon cable. There we go. And then you end up with this kind of W shape. Now that is going to slide into the DVD port just here. You want the metal contacts to go over the middle pins of the DVD connector. So I'm just going to squish it up a bit and then slot that down over the middle pins. You can sort of see how that sits now. Let's just tidy those cables up a little bit. We don't want anything getting caught. There we go. And then I'm just going to wrap the ribbon cable around this post here, just to keep it out of the way. Now we can slot the DVD drive on, and you want to slide the ribbon cable through the gap in the shielding. And now we just want to install the bracket ready for the Flippy Drive. So that's just held in with 2 of the original screws that we used to take out. then what I'm going to do now is attach the ribbon cable to the Flippy drive itself. So you want to line up the little triangular arrow with the triangular arrow that's printed on the board and just slot that into the connector. Now we can just lock that in place, push it down, snap it into position. Nice, that's nice and secure. Now we can just put that onto the bracket. So mine's like a push fit connection. They used to be screw posts, but now it's just a push fit. So pretty simple to fit. And now we want to grab an SD card and just copy on some of our backed up games. And then we can just add the SD card into the Flippy drive. And now we can just start to put everything back together again. Screw the grounding plates back in place. The controller ports back on. There we go. Now I'm just going to put these 3 screws back in now that sit underneath the USB power supply and the fan. It's really easy to forget these, so make sure you don't. And then the fan unit can just sit on top like that. There we go. Let's get that screwed back in place. And then we can go around and start adding in the rest of the screws. Now we can just get the back plate clipped back in place and slide the lid back on. Just make sure you have the DVD lid open when you do this. This just helps prevent any breakages as you put it down. Right, let's flip it back over. Last 4 screws. And we're done. Flippy drive is installed. Let's turn it on, see if it's all working. Well, we've got light, that's a good sign, and excellent. We're booting up. And the nice thing is, the Flippy drives go straight into Cubeboot and it just shows you all your games. It's really as simple as that. Very minimal settings, but if you push left on the controller when you boot up the GameCube, that will boot you into the DVD mode, so the game will boot from disk. So I've installed Mario Sunshine here, and that's booting from disk. All working great. Now let's play a game that's not region specific for my console. So here's Killer 7. This is a UK version for my American GameCube. I'm going to just pop the disc in now. And if we push right on the controller as we boot this time, this will boot into enhanced mode and will allow you to play games that aren't for your region of console, which is great. And as you can see, that's all working. Perfect. Now let's just take a little look at ripping a disc. So I picked this up at a car boot sale for a £5, bargain. So let's get the disc out, whack it into the console, if I don't drop the disc first. So we've powered on the console, and what we want to do is push X on the controller, and this will take us into the bootloader menu. If you go down to onboard DOL, you can then rip your disc from here. So I'm just going to speed through this process slightly because it is quite long. It took about 30 minutes, I think. Yeah, and the disk has finished ripping. Excellent. So let's just go back to the main menu, and yeah, there's the game. So let's just boot that up, see if it works. Excellent, and that's working as well. Fantastic. So what do I think about Flippy Drive? Honestly, I'm pretty impressed. The installation was pretty simple, very similar to the solderless Pico loader that I installed a few weeks back. If you want to check out that video, I'll stick a link down below. And that user interface really looks like it's something out of the Nintendo family. It's clean, simple, there's minimal options to get in the way, and it just works. It's fantastic. If you just want to jump straight into gaming, this is the one for you. But anyway, there are more advanced features if you install the config file. I didn't do that today because I wanted to keep this video about the basics, but if you'd like me to cover that in a future video, just let me know in the comments below. I think being able to launch the games from the SD card is fantastic, and the fact that I can back up my games and I can play region-specific games, and I can also play imported games, it just makes it a really versatile piece of kit. And after waiting months for this thing to arrive, I'm really pleased to say it was definitely worth the wait. And it's pretty much the only way I'll be playing my GameCube library going forwards. But anyway, if you've got any questions about Flippy Drive, or if you've installed one yourself, let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you've enjoyed this video, give it a like, a subscribe. It really helps me out, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care and goodbye. This tiny little board lets you play your backed up games direct. So hi everyone, my name is Charlie. This site. Why can't I say that? This tiny little PCB lets you play your backed up games. Cubeboot feels like it's something straight out of the Nintendo. So what do I think about Cube? Start again.